Hello classmates, welcome to Mike Mission's Backyard Adventures. We are currently in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and what you see there is actually a picture of my front yard. I currently am the fourth generation of Mount Pleasant, so we own about 12 acres, and we're that red dot. And we're going to take that red dot and we're going to move all the way down to this marshy area. We're going to go through some longleaf pine ecosystems and some wetlands and marshlands. This is my trusty sidekick, Lily. Lily is my 12-year-old dog. She's a Dana, and she goes everywhere with me. So this is my driveway, and the first species we come to, and the first threat to the ecosystem that I actually find, is kudzu. That's a beautiful oak tree, but kudzu is coming from Asia. It's an invasive species, and it's just taking over that whole side of the forest. There's not really anything you can do to counter it. Livestock don't like to eat it. Poison doesn't really affect it. And then if you do use poison, you're going to kill everything else that you don't need to kill with it. It's a horrible thing. I wish we didn't have it. From here, we're actually moving down to some wetlands. And this is actually a part of a bank that water flushed out a long time ago during Hugo. This used to not exist. It's not man-made, but it got flushed out. And when we go down there, you're actually going to see some fiddler crabs and a marsh crab. Now, the thing about the fiddler crabs and the marsh crabs, you can kind of see the difference. The marsh crabs don't have this big male claw like a fiddler crab does to say, hey, I'm me, I'm awesome, I'm the big bad guy, look at my claw. And then all the other ladies, fiddler crabs, are like, I like him. And so they go with it. Right there is a fiddler crab. It will, if I can zoom in my steady camera angle, there it goes. And there are going to be more coming up. And there we go. Look, there's the marsh crab. We go to the marsh crab, and marsh crab likes to use camouflage to hide. It doesn't really run. Right there, it thinks I am one with the stick, for I am the stick, and you cannot see me under the stick. And needless to him, I am about to move stick, and I shall find him. And I'll get some good camera angles on him. And look, and boom, found you, tag, you're it. He does not accept those terms. He figures if he keeps standing still that he won't move. But that is a marsh crab, and that's one of the third species I found within the first 10 minutes of walking. I'm with my trusty dog. From there, we're actually going to go to 4 more of these wetlands. Now, this actual area was created, like I said, by flooding runoffs, but it's a low-lying land, low-lying wetlands. It's kind of protected, and there's just many more species. This is Big Boss Ed. Big Boss Ed has the fiddler pincers male, and they were all everywhere, and they use that to attract mates and to ward off predators. They're really cool. Second threat to the ecosystem is a runoff I found going to that wetland, actually from a neighborhood. It's new. It's new to me. I never seen it, but I never went on this side of the woods. This is actually a wetland ecosystem I want to show you. Low-lying. Look at it. It's there, but what we're getting at right here is like the 4 species of animal I did find, and it's a white-tail deer tracks, excuse me, and it's right there. You can't really see it. I don't know why I stopped there. If I go a little bit further, there's some indentations in the mud, but I want to show you how it found, and you can kind of see the tracks, not with the camera, but you can see where they run it, do a singular line. That's what I'm walking on, is actually one of the trails, and then right there you get some actual imprints of, I'm guessing it's a female. I haven't seen many bucks in there. A couple fawn tracks. That is a pindo palm. That's one of the other species I like. Fun fact about palm trees: Fort Moultrie down here was actually built out of palm trees, and during the Revolutionary War, the palm trees were able to absorb the cannon, thus no one died during that attack. Usually, I think about 4 people. And that is a dove feather. I'm guessing he got taken out by this red-winged hawk that I'm trying to get up there. I just can't get him. And they were floating down. Oh, ibises. I was walking down. You can see this is actually more wetlands. And you see these ibises, and they're a really cool bird. I just can't get enough close to them to actually get a good view with my camera. But they're there quite a bit. That place was kind of too icky and nasty, and I didn't really want to go in that mud just to try to get close to them for a bird that's going to fly away. That's about, I think, the 6th species. I mean, this is all in a total of 30 minutes. Nature in its course. Dead fiddler crab I found, and he's getting in by some fire ants, which are absolutely invasive to this land. And he'll become nutrients. He'll do what he needs to do. All right, so we are now entering the marshland. All right, so the marsh is beautiful oak tree to your left. It's almost the size of the angel oak. It's a gorgeous tree. But this is marshland, so I'm going to have to come back around. And there's a trail that I know that this is built years ago that people kind of keep up. They take you right to the marsh. And like I said, growing up, this is where you used to go hang out and just admire nature, actually. So this is a little bridge that we're taking across, and it'll take you up there, and you are right on the marsh. You're on the Pluff Mud. It smells like Pluff Mud. It is what you think of South Carolina Low Country coast, and luckily my house comes up right to it, like I said. And this is some marsh plants. I forgot what it is. I couldn't identify that. But the next clip you're actually going to see is the sand moving, but it's not really the sand at all moving. Actually, no, correction, my apologies. This is actually what you're going to see. This is going to be snails that come on, hang on these plants, and what they do, they hang out on the plants during low tide, and they move up during high tide, and they just eat the nutrients and everything like that. I try to show you it detached out of predatory instinct, and it got in its shell and latched off, but I'm about to show you right here. You see how they're attached on there? And that's a really cool species. Growing up as a kid, you don't really admire this stuff until you get older. You don't realize that, and this is what you do for a living. So you go further in this, and you'll see marshalling right here. This is stuff. I worked on both sides. I worked with development companies and a conservationist, and it's just amazing what they're willing to dig up for houses, and not unless you can beat them. So if you see, you can see the sand looks like it's about to be moving, but no, that's hundreds of fiddler crabs moving away from me. They're like, hey, you're not one of us. You do not need to be here. I don't like you. And I can't blame them. I'm huge. This is a plant, this is a honey locust plant that I found. Gorgeous, but actually what I was trying to get at while I was looking at it, a species of butterfly called the clouded sulfur came up. And it actually was just flying around all day. And it followed me. He just never stood still for his photo shoot because he did not want me to get his bad side, and I did not disagree with that. So I respected his policy, and I just kept on walking. Again, this is kudzu. This is more on the trail. It just keeps going. The trail I'm actually on is a paved trail next to a neighborhood. I just cut it because I'm lazy. But actually, my property goes right next to it. And these are elephant ears. This is actually on a ditch bank that was carved out for the Civil War. And that happened. And this finally is a red velvet ant, nasty sting. I got hit by them when I was a teenager, and I still remember that pain. It really knocked me on my behind. And finally, there's my white-tailed deer. This is in my front yard. They're always out there. I knew I could find deer tracks. If I found the tracks, I found the deer. And then we found a toad. This is at night in my yard. This is a toad, and he does not care I'm here. He's like, step off. I'm like, okay. And so we keep walking. And the more and more we walk, we don't turn the porch light on really. It keeps the light pollution down. And so I use a flashlight, and I can just show you all these green tree frogs that are around all the time. I got about 13 or 14 on this front porch. And that's about it. I'm glad you watched this video. The biggest threat I can say around here is development. That's the third threat. I'm glad that y'all enjoy this tour. Come down here if you can. It's just a gorgeous place to live in Mount Pleasant, and I'm just lucky enough to be one of the people that still have 12 acres down here of wildlife. So thank you.